Yeah, no, I kind of understood.
I'm just checking, man. You never know with you.
No, it's interesting playing Raph because I gotta basically sometimes blunt out common sense.
Yeah. I'm just helping you out so
Yeah.
you can know how blunt you can make him. I get you. I know the feeling.
Yeah. Because, I mean, come on, if she had said something else differently, I had a completely horrible scene set up, but she didn't fall into that trap, so oh well. I kind of embrace it. I mean, I even had Gidyu make. I sort of hold up the bracelet. I even had Gidyu make this so that I can access more than what I'm getting from Ku himself. This sort of show her the bracelet. This actually allows me to access a completely different element, the element of Earth.
Ah, you have one of Fuman-san's creations. He has quite a deft touch.
Yep. I've even been working on a couple of spells to create, basically to help in combat, and I'm not quite there yet, but basically in other elements as well. Why do you ask?
Well, it is something that I am not able to do myself.
How do you mean?
And she'll just kind of look forward and she'll be like, I cannot manipulate the element that Otohime has innately.
Is it because he's... Is it because she's... Wait, she or he?
Otohime.
David can't remember... Raph, this is one of the few things that...
Raph would know, it's a she.
Yeah. I couldn't remember that.
Himi means princess in Japanese.
Got it.
Raph would.
Raph might not have known that, but
Raph would know.
Yeah.
Otohime's a woman.
Yeah.
I mean,
there was an entire celebration about her.
He's not that retarded.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a guy
that was a day.
No, Kabuki. They had the males played the female roles.
Oh,
that's too much thinking for Raph.
Raph doesn't know Kabuki.
Anyway, is she somehow blocking it from you?
It's the other way around.
You're blocking her from...
Not intentionally.
If I can ask, what are her elements?
The element of water. That is it.
Alright.
I am told that a kami of her stature would theoretically have the element of wind as well. The sea and the storms are quite... Well, they're often married to one another, as you can see within Ryujin.
Oh, yeah. Well, I have access to wind, but if you're not even getting access to water, it sounds like that's something not more advanced. Well, last time we talked like this, you kind of were wondering about what you wanted to do with where you were in your family. Have you resolved that yet?
Well, resolve that. Well,
have you decided...
Lord.
Sorry, go.
I want to do what I was born to do.
So you decided to embrace who you are then?
I've never once not been that way.
Real quick, correct me if I'm wrong, out of game, but we had the entire conversation about her wanting to walk away from her powers, right? Or am I dreaming that?
No.
No, I'm not dreaming that, or no, I'm wrong?
She's not wanted to walk away from her duty. That's why she gets upset.
I mean, she had that entire, basically, Suzuka's a much better person than I am. I should let her take a charge. That was the sort of entire
Yeah,
binding
she was
point.
agonized about it, but in
Right.
the end, like, you can see that she hasn't said anything about it.
Yeah, well, that's, I mean, sorry. Then I guess I'll bring it up straight. Last time we talked, it was basically you brought up Suzuka and how you thought you might pass it to her. So you are basically keeping with your legacy.
Well, at the end of the day, it's something that Suzuka herself would want to do. Even if she was to be thrust within the role, there are some things that you cannot brute force. But still, no, I haven't told father because of my own personal selfishness, if that's what you're asking for. It is not something I'm proud of, but, well, there is no but, really. It is something that I'm knowingly doing, and I know it is wrong, but I still wish to persist.
Actually, fuck it. So, are you saying you're staying with it, or are you saying you're...
It's these matters, perhaps to somebody who isn't quite as intimately involved in the matter, it might seem trivial, but it's a life-altering decision. When you interact with the kami, when you change around the fate that has been given to you.
You completely... I cannot hear you.
You got very quiet. And Ray dropped, but he'll be back.
I can't talk loudly at the moment.
No, I think when you sneeze, you just moved away from your speaker, and then you did... Or your,
I think it
microphone.
readjusted.
Yeah.
Oh, it probably did, because the
Yeah.
mic stays in one place.
Yeah.
So, oh,
Anyway, continue.
she just said that you might think it's a trivial decision to make, but it's not something that can be reversible.
I actually think the exact opposite. It's probably one of the most difficult decisions you're ever going to have to make. It's not trivial, it's the exact... Deciding what path you want to walk, as young as we are, is fundamental to who we become as a people.
It's not necessarily about what I want to do. It's about the benefit of other people. It's my own selfishness that I haven't gone forth and talked with father. It's my own fault that we've grown more distant is if we keep secrets from one another.
I'm sorry. I'm going to turn off the music because I'm having trouble hearing you.
They're fine.
Alright. Can you repeat that? Because unfortunately, the music was... I couldn't hear what you said, or what she said.
She said it's not a decision about what path she wants to walk. It's about what would be beneficial for other people and her family.
Oh, I'm sorry to disagree with you, but by any decision you make, it's going to be the decision you make, whether you decide to make it because you think it benefits more people, or because you think it's selfish, or because you think you're being unselfish. They're all going to be decisions that you're going to be making. They're all going to be coming from you. You're not going to have other people make the decision. So, literally, it's your decision. What you decide, what you weigh to make that decision is your choice. But and it will influence what you decide, but it will still be your decision. Am I making any sense?
What I'm trying to say is that it shouldn't be, but, well, I'm the only one privy to the information. Unless Kazihaya or Fujikage herself wants to talk to my father.
I doubt Kazihaya would, and I don't think I've always had trouble with her last name. I don't think she would either. May I ask, are you certain that if you tell her those things, that if you tell him those things, he would just bypass you completely?
Lately, father's been reclusive, so at this point, I don't know.
Well, things have been moving to a head around here, especially with like what just happened with the rogue demon. There's got to be a lot of stuff that's happening. It's just, I don't know. I mean, I always got the impression from your father, from what you've told me of your father, that he moves in. How do I say this politically? He doesn't take a lot of emotion involved with what he does.
And did you come to that conclusion based on what I've told you? And I feel I've done a disservice to my father.
I could be projecting my own problems onto him then.
No, my father is not a man of many words, but the words that he does speak are true and just. Strength isn't necessarily a battering ram that forces open the door, but strength comes from convincing the person on the other side to open the door for you. That is how I feel my father operates. He will not force you, but you'd have to be some type of person just to walk away from somebody who's willing to do so much for their country and their people.
If I had basically gave offense on that, and maybe I've let my own problems interfere more than what I was thinking and added some of my own elements to that. But I also got the impression that your father was, shall we say, a big picture kind of guy. If you understand what I mean.
He wants what's best for the Nakatomi, by extension, the Fujiwara. That is the larger picture, but he is not a demon. He is still human.
Now, have you talked with Suzuka at all about any of this?
I have not.
Can I ask why you haven't talked to her about it?
It's a subject where if she wants to talk about it, she knows where I am.
However, she doesn't know what's on your mind. She doesn't know the dilemma you're facing.
She knows somewhat of the situation. She has lived within the temples for nearly 10 years now. She may not be fully involved as she's not of the blood, but she still has heard enough to get the larger picture. She would be deceiving you otherwise if she feigned ignorance.
Unfortunately, I've always been kind of, some stuff happened early on that I wasn't aware of, and so I never really got a chance to know her. And then it's also one of those things where you haven't talked to somebody and you keep feeling bad about talking to them, so you don't talk to them, and then it escalates and snowballs out of that. So I've never really had a good relationship with her like I had with the other guys at the dorm, but I never got the impression that basically, how do I say this? Yeah?
I don't feel like it's a slight on your end. The fact that Suzuku is able to live within a enclosed living space with people she's only known for a scant few months is quite remarkable from the girl that I used to know.
Fortunately, I mean, how many versions of her have we gone through, though?
What? What do you mean, versions?
You. I'm sorry. I thought you. You know that the entire time that you had to deal with the stuff when I was basically when lockdown, when you had to basically rescue her from whatever happened in her mind, how she changed after that?
Her, her matamas, they got mixed, but I was able to stabilize her again. It's not the first time that we've had to do such a procedure. Suzuki's heritage has always been closed off. Admittedly, it was a far dire state than I'm used to seeing. And I'm not the best person when it comes to opening the inner domain. My father, or Jun, would have been able to achieve much greater effects, but considering the circumstances, I was able to pull something off.
Wow, yeah, I mean, that's just what I meant. It's just all I meant is get on to. What I mean is, it's not. You can't rely on her to know about what's in your mind if you have serious. Because I think your hesitancy to fully embrace or reject who you are could be why you're not accessing your powers. It is from the mind. It's all about at least everything I've studied. Yeah?
She'll be like, I know you miss well, but your words, they hurt more than you intend for them to do.
I do that a lot, and I do apologize. I hope you understand I'm not. The words I pick are usually bad, and all I mean to say is you are at a crisis at this moment, are you not? You are unsure about your path.
She'll just kind of shy and she'll be like, between you and Reiko, you certainly know how to put your foot into things.
Wow, Reiko can do this too? I'm in good company. I'm sorry, I don't mean to. I think, at least for my this could basically be my Western upbringing, but not knowing exactly who you want to be at any given moment isn't a horrible thing.
It's not that I'm unsure of who I want to be. It's just that I can't be it.
Are you certain about that?
Yes. It's a miracle that I even have a persona. I failed my initiation. I've had my persona for well, you were there yourself.
Yeah. I was also basically unlike the other ones. She had been following you for a while, watching you. If you had failed her, why would she not have moved on? She didn't.
When it comes to how our family operates, we always have Kami watching over us, the Shujin of our domain, the Kami of water. To have a Kami watch over one of one of their distant, very distant ancestors. That is, it would be a shame if there was not at least one looking over me, even if I cannot gaze back.
Right. So instead of basically putting a lieutenant or some other underling, she picks herself to basically guard over you.
I am a Nakatomi. And she'll say that quite fiercely.
Yeah. I understand. And exactly, you are a Nakatomi. You are who you are. But you're questioning it.
I'm not questioning it, Raphael.
I am going to put my foot in my mouth at this point. I know how much I screwed this up, so I'm apologizing ahead of time. But you're telling me that you do not believe you can be who you think you should be. And you're telling me that basically you are having trouble connecting with with your persona and not getting the full power from her. Are these both true statements?
What I'm going to tell you is that I do not have the ability to connect with my persona. I do not have the talent. And that is not something that can come through hard work and dedication. Do you really think that I would slack off in these things?
No.
It is simply how the kami have deemed my position in life, that I must play the frail maiden and have the kami dictate over me, that I am simply somebody who they cast their pity upon and gain favor that way, that I cannot manipulate the powers that were given to me without great strife and hardship, without my body being lacerated in order to ignite the ley lines that should be within my blood that have been cut off from birth. No, it is not a case of that I do not have the mental fortitude to connect with Otohime. It's that I cannot. I do not have the qualities to do so because I've never had them. Raphael Dark.
Okay.
Forgive me for having my temper flare, but it was terribly hurtful when you jumped to these conclusions.
Remember, I have terminal foot and mouth disease, so there's nothing you can say, I think, out there can basically get me thinking anything less. All right, then. If that is truth.
What reason do I have to lie at this point?
I don't mean it like that. I don't mean I'm questioning what you're saying. I basically mean if this is a statement of fact, how do you want to move from this? You don't seem to basically want to play the role the role that basically was placed before you. You don't want to be the hopeless maiden. There's a lot of roads that you can still walk that don't end in that lane. There's a lot that can be done. I am not basically saying that you are lacking the intention to do them. It may be simply that you just don't know they're available. There's so much that I didn't know I could do before I came here. Doesn't basically. Yes.
Have you ever heard of all of this before you came to the academy?
Nothing.
And we're not in the same position. I've known this ever since I could form cognitive thought.
You've known what's been told to you. You've known what you know. But the greatest joke is, how could you not know? How could you know what you don't know?
Come again.
Raph reaches into his pocket, pulls out, pretends to pull out something, sort of like does that, like, what's in his hand, what's in my hand. He sort of holds two fists out. Unless you knew what I had in my pocket, you cannot tell what I have in one of these two hands. It isn't a fact that basically that you are lacking the ability to basically see. It isn't the fact that you're lacking the ability to remember. You cannot have that knowledge. It is not there.
When it comes to my heirloom, when it comes to my blood, that is knowledge that I do have. When it comes to the duties that I must take up, that is something that I do know. When it comes to knowledge of my position, when it comes to knowledge of what I could be capable of if I had the potency, I know it all too well. It's my inability to act upon my knowledge. But whatever. This is a fruitless conversation.
It isn't. If nothing else, you're getting out your aggression on me, which is fine, because I can take it.
It is an unseemly trait.
But a necessary one. Many times necessary.
I'm not the one in charge of Susano. This rage does not suit. Although Himi's rage, well, when her rage was filled with grief and sorrow upon having her husband look upon her unseemly form.
I'm sorry, I completely missed that one.
Essentially, you should be pleased that I haven't run away down into the depths of the ocean to hide my shame.
Maybe.
Don't. I still have the map to go to basically find the holes to drag you back out.
Well, that is some dedication that I can at least admit is a good trait of yours, even if it is crude.
Question. I know I'm getting back this, and I know you're getting angry because I keep bringing it up. But there's a demon I know, Fulbright. He runs a library. It's pretty well stocked with information, demonic information that is pretty esoteric to find. How would we go there and look at what those books say? Maybe there's something there that that neither of us know about, that nobody knows about.
Perhaps
if nothing else,
I've not said this so clearly.
When
I do not have the ability. Why do you make it sound like there's hope when there's not? I was not born with it. I cannot possess it. It is not something I'm going to find in a demonic book in a demonic library. That is something that I have to live with. And you've given me this sense of false belief.
What I'm trying to do... Alright. Let us work with that angle then. It is gone. It is cut off from you. You will not have this ability. You will not be able to meet the task that was placed before you. It was placed as a joke, and a cruel one at that. But what are you going to do about this? How are you going to respond to that?
The way that I have been. Just because I cannot do something doesn't mean that I will stop trying. But I will not chase down false dreams to comfort myself with. The reason why I initiated conversation with you is about your magical potency was that I was going to ask your help in a task that I cannot fulfill by myself, and I feel bringing an outsider would bring benefits or results rather than talking to one of my family members. But it steered down this avenue.
What is it you need to do? Everything I've been doing here has basically been trying to ask you, what do you want to do?
I need to give tribute to the water temple underneath the ocean, but there's a magical barrier that I cannot penetrate by myself.
I can control earth, I can control air, I can control electricity. With that combination, I could get us down there, I think.
You simply only need to be a potent mythopoetic.
Okay?
And you very much. Your aura is intoxicating. Even me, who has dulled senses, can see that you radiate a power that is foreign. And yes, it wishes to conquer everything that it sees. I don't think that's intentional, is it?
Curse of my Western upbringing.
It's not your upbringing, it is innate talent that you were born with. Out of all of the people that I know, you're the most suitable candidate.
Okay. What do I need to do? When do we need to do it?
Well, if you have the time to, I was hoping that we do it now. I may not be able to manipulate the elements myself, but Otohime is still a skilled sorceress.
Okay. I need for you to tell me what you need me to do at this point.
And
Where do we need to go?
I guess at this point you'd be heading towards, like, you'd be near the shrine and you'd be heading onto the beachfront of the shrine.
Got it.
And she'll be like, I will grant you transport. You simply need to be there and do what it is that you do. You were able to manipulate me back then. You should be able to manipulate the aura.
Okay. I look for it.
And she'll just kind of smile and she'll be like, we haven't even started yet.
Eager beaver.
And she'll appear like she's walking, she'll be walking away from you, but she's not walking away from you. Kind of seems like as she's walking out and extending her arms, it seems like Otohime's coming from behind her. Like she's forming outside of her back. And give me a moment. And do you want to spend the plot point?
Sure.
What attribute do you want to add?
I figured intuition, so
I already rolled your intuition, but I figured like
no, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I would go with understanding, so D8.
Okay. Ooh. Alright. So as she's walking forward, you kind of see like Otohime, like, you know how somebody rises out of water and they kind of break the surface tension?
Mm-hmm.
You kind of feel like you get that visual from her, but instead of the water being like oceany, you kind of feel like Otohime is kind of rising from an ocean of blood out coming from her back.
Okay.
You know, like it's meant to be that. Oh, that doesn't look too good.
Yeah. No, that's what I meant by okay. It's like, this is going properly. I guess Rap does actually say it that way.
Right, and then she'll do her. Did I not give her her Kagura? Religious dance plus 50. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So she's solo. Did I give anybody? Yeah, D10 solo Katsumi. Yeah, that's Katsumi. Okay, 1d8, 1d12 plus 1d100 plus 50.
Damn.
All right. So I guess she'll just kind of raise her hands, and she doesn't have one of the instruments of a normal Kagura, but she's just doing it to invoke her persona. And it looks very graceful and lovely and beautiful. And then Otohime will emerge, like you can kind of see tendrils of blood like dropping off of Otohime and just kind of dissolving into the sand.
Okay.
And Otohime, after that, like Otohime will will bow and she'll be like, "Greetings, magical one."